All right, welcome to the Economic Development Commission meeting. Opening the meeting July 15th, 2025. It is 5:09 p.m. What do I?
So it looks like we're missing.
Yeah,
Beth,
who are we missing? Beth.
And our two associate members, Mattress and Mike. Can't remember Mike's last name.
Yeah, thank you for filling in
Yeah.
the blanks there.
So, I don't know if you want me to
Yeah,
kind of
go ahead.
So, first item is just a kind of a discussion about Main Street Live. To kind of back everyone up, this was a fall event run by the EDC for a number of years. Last year, the commission did not go forward with that, and a lot of that had to do with just capacity issues. It's a large event, requires a lot of volunteers, and I think Donnell would obviously speak to this as being part of the EDC and running it the whole entire time. Getting volunteers has been an issue, and it was just really kind of almost impossible to bring forward, especially last year. So since that time, we're having this on the agenda is just kind of maybe try to find put a bow on it, or have some sort of conclusion in terms of whether this commission's involvement with the event or involvement with the account that runs the event. I guess the way I put it that way. And I really want to kind of have a discussion with everybody in terms of just maybe what are people's general thoughts, and then do we kind of almost make a list and kind of have kind of like, I was thinking of trying to do like almost like a ranked choice thing in terms of, do we want to continue holding onto the fund for EDC accounting purposes? Do we want to sponsor a different group? Do we want to provide all the funding to a new group? I don't know what the best option is moving forward, but I think the one conclusion of it, and I don't want to speak for the group, is that EDC wouldn't be taking it on as a full-time event.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree that that was kind of the conclusion, that the EDC would not be able to manage it without, and
Yeah.
that the idea would be, if a new group approached about it or wanted to take it over, that's.
Or even in some different, capacity, maybe not the full full scale of it, but maybe some scaled down version.
Right.
Yeah.
The two questions. One, what was the purpose of the event? Was it to raise funds, raise awareness of Walpole, make Walpole an attractive, exciting
Generate foot
place?
traffic to the downtown. So
Yeah,
I think
That
that's
was the number one.
That was
Yep.
another one, okay.
Try to.
And is the town, and I guess when I say town, perhaps the select board, are other entities in town in support of such an event if a new entity were to take it on, whether that entity was the YMCA or Epiphany Parish or Be Inclusive or God knows whom? Do you think it would receive general support, or is the attitude more it's run its course? And
No, I mean, my opinion, I think I don't speak for the select board, but I think just from talking to people, come up and talk about it, everyone seems to really like the event. It's definitely well received.
Mhm.
I think it was more, like the new group takes it on. I don't project it being any sort of problem or with working with the town. And especially with the EDC, there's a big connection of, I guess, just being in communication with town staff and coordinating with, especially with DPW and police. So I don't see that being an issue. The town's always pretty receptive to any group running to run events.
And maybe that's the role that the EDC can play in the future. If there is a partner that wants to take it on as the lead, we could be supportive in kind of helping handholds, as Donnell mentioned before, through the first year until it actually fully gets passed off.
Should we just discuss also some proposed committees that we can float this idea, like the culture committee or somebody else, like?
In terms of taking the event on.
Yeah, right, like taking a lead, but we will also support them kind of a thing, right?
This is kind of the conversation, I think, again, I'm not trying to speak for the group, but this is a conversation that has come up before, and I think Donnell, Beth, Mark, they have
Exhausted it.
I was gonna say, I don't wanna say exhausted it, but they have definitely
tried.
tried.
Okay.
It was a very popular, it is a very popular event. I've had people ask me like, is it coming back? You know, everybody wants it, but the work to get it going is very, it's a lot. So.
Nobody wants to spearhead the effort, essentially, is what you're saying.
Is the information that you have in your head, Donnell, thank you for what you shared, and that Mark and Beth had, is that captured anywhere in a notebook or a binder?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
so
In fact, I
we
threw
could say,
some
"Here you
stuff
go.
back
Do-
today.
You know, do this.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not,
Maybe not that.
there's not a playbook, but you know, there's definitely steps to march you through it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all of it. I'll be happy to sit down with anybody at my office or with you.
Oh, okay.
And most of that stuff is at my office, and happy to go through all the docs. I sent some of the docs
Yeah.
today. I don't know if Patrick forwarded them to you, which is like the supply list, the volunteer list, the people that we needed. I mean, that's there, and the supply list is really kind of sets out what has to go through. The one thing that took a lot of time and has to begin way in advance is obviously the food trucks. And that almost has to start a year in advance because they book up quick.
And I'd helped John with that in his when he was rolling off, so I'm kind of familiar with that. I'd be happy to.
There's a contact, so like a lot of that exists, like there's a contact list.
Yeah, they have
So to also go on what Patrick was saying, everybody was in favor of it. Everybody in town, the boards, the selectmen, the police department, the fire department, the board of health. We didn't get pushback from anybody. We might have got a letter or two from somebody saying that they didn't think that the town should be involved with selling beer and wine on the common, but that was just one or two people and that was it. And, you know, the last event we had, there was probably between 5,000 to 6,000 people there. You know, so it was definitely in favor and everybody worked with us. And I think that the board working with all those groups, the fire department, the selectmen, everything, and trust of what we were doing was good, you know, and, you know, we were doing it right, we were holding it right, we were watching the liquor, we were, you know, doing everything, you know, that we all were in agreement with the police department, the fire department, the board of health, and obviously the selectmen, so everything went well, and it was good we kind of grew into it, because in the very beginning, it was only 1,000 people, and we had it taped off on one common. Then year 2, it was 2 commons. Then year 3, it started getting big, and we had to bring in barricades just to kind of keep the boundaries of where everything was happening. And then by years 4, 5, 6, it was just going to 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people every year. It would grow astronomically. And the one lucky thing that we had is we had great weather for those 7 years. Very fortunate, because one rain night gonna kill it. Because you have a lot of expenses set up prior to that you just can't do a rain date, especially with the entertainment.
I think with the notion that Donnell and Beth have like exhausted all of their contacts, which are many in the town and the community, if you have somebody that might be interested in taking it on as a lead, you know, I think it's more than you know, possible to find somebody. It's just been really difficult to date.
I mean, I just speaking on top of my head now, I mean, if it's something that's like, it's a combination of different nonprofits that like the idea of being part of it, and if they could use that as a fundraising source, and it's almost like you have a, you know, a Friends of Main Street Live, or Main Street Live new LLC, or a nonprofit, and you know, however that works from a financial end, that could be something that those parties figure out. But from the EDC standpoint, like, you know, Donna said too, I mean, just town side, we're always willing to work with people. It's never an issue in terms of setting up meetings. Permitting has always been incredibly straightforward. Going to the select board, it's more of a formality, really. It's yeah, as long as we have everything completed, it's a pretty simple process from that side. And you know, that's. Yeah, I can't speak for all the boards, but yeah, all the departments are pretty receptive to working with any group looking into events.
Wouldn't this be sorry, I mean, interrupt you.
Okay.
Would this be a good project for Destination Downtown to take on?
Yeah.
It kind of like.
We offered it.
We offered it, yeah.
I would think they'd jump at it, because what's her name?
It's already been offered.
See, the hard
yeah.
part is you need
People.
50 to 60 volunteers to give
And
their
they're small.
time.
Yeah.
And you need, I don't know how many hours you need to set it up, but there's a lot of advanced work that goes in the 3 or 4 or 5 weeks before.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
that's when the bulk of the work gets done. You do some advertising 4 or 5 months ahead of time, and then 8 or 9 or 10 months ahead of time, you get the food trucks going. But then the 2 days before, it's, you know, I mean, I had 8 or 9 of my guys that were just there full-time on the common that day, setting up, even though they come in
Yeah.
and set the tents up, but you gotta put lighting into the tent, you gotta get the bars up there, you gotta get the booths set up, you gotta get the beer and wine in, you gotta, you know, there's a lot of work, and then there's a lot of cleanup. And the cleanup goes until 3 AM in the morning. So it's hard to get people that are gonna stay there that time. I don't think the
Yeah.
town would be upset if you came in at 8 o'clock and cleaned up, but we always got off that common by the night, and when you came there the next day, you didn't even know anything was there, except for 2 porta potties left over, which they didn't pick up until Monday.
One
You
of
know,
the
but
other
other than that-
thoughts was
Yeah.
outsourcing that, you know, and if you could hire a event manager, event planner, like that's a way to kind of, you know, you gotta have funds for it, but there are people that do that and they'll provide the staff. I have no idea on cost, you know, then you might not be making much money as a fundraiser.
It wouldn't be financially feasible to
Right.
do that.
You're starting to get,
Yeah.
And we were always thinking of boosters club or boosters to take it, because boosters rotate every 4 years.
Mhm.
So you can get parents to volunteer in a booster thing because their kids are in the freshman year and junior, senior, and by then they're off, and new families are coming in and new parents are coming in.
Mhm.
So nobody would get burnt out. And we tried very hard with the soccer booster, the baseball, football, hockey, but nobody really wanted to take it on. We were hoping that maybe 2 or 3 of them would take it on and use it as a fundraiser type thing, and even have the kids involved, but not that the kids are gonna stay on the common after 10 or 11 o'clock and clean up until 2 o'clock or whatever, you know? And obviously, you got beer and wine, but you need adults handling and everything all the time, but, so we try, but it's a lot of people you need, and, you know, throughout the event.
I would also add to that, I think with the beer and wine in particular, you do need, someone needs to be serve safe.
Yeah,
And there's also a certificate
a
of.
couple people
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Certificate of liability too, is something that I know you
Yeah.
used to get for,
Yep.
you know.
Insurance, you know, serving liability. But, you know, Mark, Beth, and I would, I couldn't tell you, I couldn't tell you how many hours I put into it. I probably put 120, 180 hours into it to get it going,
Mhm.
you know, throughout the whole thing, you know.
Yeah.
And then there's money you gotta take care of in banking that's gotta be done and everything like that as well, which, happy to help and hand it over. We did it as an offshoot of the Friends of St. Patrick's, is how it all came about, because the town couldn't organize it or do it in time, so we just did it through the Friends of St. Patrick's as a separate organization of the Friends of St. Patrick's through their 501(c). And it was just called Main Street Live.
Is it the Friday through the Sunday? I know you've gone over this, but I'm new to the party, as you say, so.
That's just
Is
one-
it the 3?
one
Oh,
night.
it's the one.
It's
night.
one night, it was
Oh,
the
okay. I thought it
third
was like
Friday, or
Friday.
the second or third Friday in
Oh,
September,
okay.
every year.
Oh, that's cool.
I think-
Second Friday in September, yeah.
Yeah.
Second Friday.
I
But if
think-
you guys wanna sit down and go over with
Yeah,
me in
we
my
will.
office, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, we'd love to, I think.
Maybe not
Right?
this week, but next week I have time too.
So,
I think that brings us to the account
Yeah.
itself, right?
yeah, I would
Yeah.
say that's really,
Account coming up.
I think everyone would say that the event's well received, it's a great community event,
Mhm.
it brings foot traffic to the downtown. The first choice is to find a group that can take it on, or for the EDC to have some sort of kind of, whether it's sponsorship or however you would want to word it in terms of seeing the events in some form move on to another group. If not, though, that's like the issue of the account, which is not, you know, that's not a problem that needs to be solved immediately. But I think that was, you know, always something that kind of like hanging out there. It's like, that was money geared for fundraising for a specific event, and what's the future of that?
Well,
I don't
the
know.
whole thing with the ADC with the money was,
Yeah.
we were trying to raise money to do something significant for downtown.
Yeah.
And, you know, like buy a digital billboard, which is gonna be $40,000 to $50,000. We were trying to build the kitty up to that point. But you also have to keep a kitty in there to run the next event.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, you gotta have a little bit built into it so that if you get a rain day, you can continue the event the year afterwards.
Mhm.
So you gotta have money to start the event up and keep it in the account, and then you gotta have a fail-safe amount that stays in there, so the event just doesn't, have a rain day and you're done,
Mhm.
I think if it's possible, like, this will be the second year we don't have somebody taking it on, right? So maybe like as the EDC set like a timeline around like, if we don't have anybody, by the end of this year, we then make a decision on what to do with that account, like kind of, because I think otherwise it will just kind of like continue,
We'll just continue the discussion again, so it's good to come to a
Yeah,
resolution.
maybe
Yeah.
set a timeline,
That's
set a
good.
deadline for making, saying, okay, it's dead, unfortunately, unless somebody, revives it elsewhere. And what do we want to do as a group with that money?
Mhm.
Would calendar year be kind of like a good thought process, or end of the calendar year or something?
I'm open to whatever, like.
It doesn't matter to me, we
Yeah.
can do it whenever, we can do it tomorrow if you want,
Your question was, where did the money come from in the first place? And I
How was it
haven't-
funded to begin with?
Yeah.
In the very beginning, we raised all of it through donations.
Mhm.
And then
From
we were able,
businesses, or-
from businesses all around town. I mean, we were getting sponsors for like the tents, we were getting sponsors for the stage, we were getting just people making donations. And even as of the last couple of years we were doing it, we were just getting business to do donations and putting signage up and things
So
like
too,
that,
there's
and sponsorship.
Walpole Co-op and Dedham
Yeah.
Savings were
Yeah.
usually two, I guess,
They were the
primary
big ones.
sponsors.
Yeah, Middlesex Bank was in
Middlesex,
the
yeah.
beginning too as well. So we had big sponsors. That's the only reason we were able to get off, because we started this with nothing.
Mhm.
There was no budget for it. And we were just able to go out between Mark, Beth and I and get some donations coming in from the banks, and we were able to get enough money to hire the first bands. And then we had enough money to get it going, and then we relied on that income for that year kind of to buy the beer and wine. Because we didn't have enough money to buy the beer and wine, even though we had enough to get the stage in, and to get the tents, and to get the tables and chairs and tablecloths and everything. But then we got enough money into it that we broke even, and next year we made a little more money. Next year we made a little more money, but and as the budget grew, we were kind of offsetting it. So-
There might be other revenue streams too, I don't know if that's the right term for it because it's a fundraiser, but other streams of, generating money from the event that, we weren't doing previously, like it was just beer and wine, but if you could somehow funnel people in so that they're buying bracelets, like everybody has to have a bracelet to come in or something like that, like that's what they do at Walpole,
Okay.
Day, is that what it is? Yeah. Like a thing.
So that your kids can like go.
They can go up, yeah, there's like a give and take there, but I mean, you're offering live entertainment and all these other things, there might be like other streams of fundraising.
One more super fast question, if I
Sorry.
may. Is the money portable, that is, a new entity took it on? You just hand them all the money that you earned, or
Whatever we wanted to do with it.
I think.
We don't really know the mechanism.
Totally up to us,
Yeah, I see.
totally up to the
Okay.
EDC to do what they want with
It's a
it.
bigger
See the
discussion.
EDC would have to, probably should come to a vote on that.
Huh?
I would imagine the EDC would probably want to have a vote on that.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's
And
whatever
as long as
EDC
we
wants to do with it.
were aligned with the mission and we weren't giving our money to something that was not going
Yeah,
to,
people
yeah, exactly,
start gardening or something, yeah,
It's
okay.
not about anything, right?
How much money is there? Are we able to disclose that, or is that
About
private?
29,000.
Yeah, okay.
And then we need about 13 or 14 to get it started, and we're always trying to keep around 10 to 12 just to keep for the rainy day fund, so there's not like a lot of extra to really, I mean, if we're seriously thinking about handing it over to somebody, there's not a lot of money to do something with it.
Yeah.
But if we don't want to do it, then we should go and do something with it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Do you know what the price tag, well, the last year that you had it, what was the price tag on it, what it cost to pull it off?
I don't have it off the top of my head, but we made 4,000 or 5,000 maybe in the last year of it. The expenses were growing at the end with Mark and the bands, and the band money was getting into the, I want to say $25,000 range, up in that, so that was a huge expense on the whole thing. But we also thought, and Beth and I and whatever, but Mark was in charge of music, so we also thought that we could have done, not as good as an event, but we could have had a good event with a lot less money thrown into the entertainment side of it. Because we had 4 or 5 bands maybe, You can probably get away with 3 bands, and whether you need national, East Coast acts, I don't know, I don't think you do. We always tried to throw a Walpole band in the beginning, and then the other 3 or 4 were, a regional one, and then a regional one, then an East Coast one that Mark was getting, that bands that travel up and down the East Coast and
Yeah.
things, so they were pretty big and well-known,
It is
I love
a-
live
it-
music and those level C and
But- but
D
it
acts
was-
can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
also part of the draw of it
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
It was great, it was a great event because it was great bands.
Yeah.
So you're gonna, that's a give and take,
This book, I mean, that's what we used to.
so.
Yeah, that was exactly it. There's a lot of
Okay.
options.
Cool.
So I think we can probably move on from that, and I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we, and you guys will continue a conversation if you need to offline. Sounds good. Moving on to MCI.
So, I don't know if you want to start, so, Brianna and I are part of a steering committee put together by the select board, looking into reuse of MCI-Cedar Junction, a Walpole prison. It's more or less kind of a fact-finding steering committee. A lot of it is, it's out of the town's control, realistically. It's up to the state, but we want to make sure we have, put in the effort to try to kind of plan of what we knew about the property and what we'd like to see. It's still, we've only had really one meeting, and then we had a walk through the prison. Walk through the prison was pretty, it's cool. I don't know. It was a very interesting experience to be in there and get an idea of, to see it from the outside and to be inside to get a better understanding of what would need to go into, redevelopment, demoing a site like that. To me, it seems the state would have to put some funds together to actually demoing it to make it be worthwhile for someone to buy it. It was just it's a colossal complex in terms of concrete and metal.
I don't think there's any reuse for the existing structures.
I can't imagine, unless someone got creative.
Put it into some fancy museum or something.
I did say, I'm like, if it gets redeveloped, someone's gotta have like a jailhouse restaurant or something,
Indoor people.
Yeah.
It was a cool experience to see it, to get that better understanding of just, I don't know what the state's future. The state right now is using it as kind of like a transportation center for mass corrections as well as doing training.
They are still utilizing the property, which is like the big takeaway. We're also somewhat mimicking what Concord has done. MCI Concord was disposed of by the state, and so they put it up for bid, and a private entity they have plans for it, or actually they haven't put it up to bid. It's going to go to bid, and so what the town of Concord did was create this committee ahead of time. They used funds to get a feasibility study done. They got a ton of community input, and they said, whoever is gonna do this RFP, we're gonna have the zoning in place for what we want, so that when it comes time, we can kind of steer that direction, because what they didn't want is for the state to dispose of it and then somebody come in and build a hotel or something that they had no use for and didn't want, which is, kind of what Walpole is thinking. There's a lot of complexities to that site.
Yeah.
One, it's still in use, so it's not on the chopping block right now, and two, the property's split between Norfolk and Walpole.
Yeah.
So there is a committee now?
Yeah, there's a steering
Okay.
committee for.
And how many people are on that committee? Is it mostly board people, or is it
So it's
people
the
at large?
select board, member of EDC, member of planning board, and then it's a kind of ex officio members, myself, building commissioner, DPW commissioner, I want to say water and sewer.
So it's 10 or 12 weeks?
Yeah, I would say maybe 9.
And we'll see if that, I don't know what the next step is as far as if they're gonna go forward with a feasibility study and hiring an architect or master planning,
The town or the state?
maybe the town.
Town.
Yeah.
And how's the connectivity to that place? I haven't seen it.
In terms of transportation.
Yeah, transportation,
Not great.
like the highway or the train, nothing.
No.
So that's the problem with it, really. It's all on 1A. It's not really a quick way to get to 95.
Right.
You have to go through, probably the quickest way is going through Norfolk, it's Pine Street.
From the to the highway?
No, from Pine Street, Route 1 to Pine Street.
Yeah, it's inland.
Yeah.
But as of now, the state doesn't have any plans, correct?
Right,
Yeah.
it's not even on the, but the way that the MCI Concord one got in under it came very, very fast,
I think
so.
it was almost fast tracked in one of the,
It was like in
A bill?
like a line in a housing bill or something.
yeah,
So
it was.
kind of want to be like ready if something,
Comes along.
yeah. But even if a private developer was awarded the parcel, they can still technically kind of do whatever they want, whatever works for them, but they would have a lot more pushback to get through, so.
You said it's in use, how long is it? When does that expire?
There's no prisoners, is that the right?
There's no
word for it?
prisoners, yeah, no, it's a transportation center for mass corrections, like that's kind of where they do logistics, and then they also do training there. So they, new security, new officers, probably do training. They have
Canine
some-
training.
Yeah, they do storage too for a lot of the work for license plates is moved to MCI Norfolk, and so excess material, which used to be done at Cedar Junction, is still left at Cedar Junction, so if you're not, that whole complex between MCI Norfolk, Bay State, Pondville, and Cedar Junction, it all utilizes kind of like a private road that connects the 4 locations, so
And how long does that last? Does anybody know?
however they want.
It's up to them.
It's a state, yeah, so I mean,
It could
they're-
be a month, it could be 10 years.
I think it has to go through, like, it has to go through the voting.
Oh, like decommissioning, or?
Oh, sorry, what were you asking? Just
Oh,
like,
just how long that might, if anybody has an idea how long that will continue, or
DCAM
if it
has-
has a firm end date, they own it, they can do what they like for as long
They
as
can
they
do it.
want.
So would they vacate if it gets allotted for some reasonable purpose to develop? Like would that be a challenge, or like they would just vacate easily? Like if.
they would be told by the state, who's the employer for them, that they have to move or like relocate. So which,
Yeah.
that's like not, that would be, the state would make that move first, and then they would eventually put the land up for disposition, and
Right.
people would it would be a public bid process.
What's the size of the parcel? That
I think it's like 80 acres.
Yeah, it's, I wanna say about 50 acres are within Walpole itself, and then,
It's massive.
it's massive, it's a good size, but
And
it's
that's-
split between Walpole and Norfolk.
And that's again, another reason
Okay.
why to just be like thinking about what the
Yeah.
town needs and what would be most beneficial if it does go up.
The area is interesting, not to go too much on it, because really, a lot of it's out of our control,
Yeah.
but, I mean, between that site, and then there's, I think it's the old Southwood Hospital site in Norfolk, and again, that's Norfolk, we have not a lot to say on that, but that's been in discussion for redevelopment for a while now too. A group bought that and has gone through a process of looking at rezoning it, and probably doing like a phased development of, we'll talk about warehouses as the possible.
Is that what's just on the other side of 1A?
Yeah,
On the
so,
hill?
yeah, right
Behind
next
the
to the
fields.
town line, essentially.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, no update really, but other than there's a committee formed and,
you have 2 big, I guess, sites that, have a lot of work that needs to go into them if they're ever gonna be turned into something else. So it's just kind of a,
Is Norfolk doing anything?
for the prison, don't believe so.
Are you guys communicating with Norfolk?
Yeah, I mean, for the Southwood Hospital site, we communicated with Norfolk pretty frequently. I mean, the planner over there is pretty receptive to questions. And we talked to their side about the hospital site, but not about the prison.
I think it's so new to even be thinking about it, just because everybody's watching kind of what's happening up at Concord and, so, see what happens.
Yeah.
I know, what's going on with Southwood? That's been an eyesore for like the longest time.
Yeah, it's someone bought it.
It's gotta be closed for 25 years.
I know,
Not more.
I know.
Probably got a lot of,
It looks like it's haunted, it's just like a building, like it's
Remediation.
horrible.
She's a little spooky back there.
Yeah, it does.
So we can probably move on.
yeah, we can move on.
So one of the things that, especially during the summer, trying to kind of take a better look at what we can do for just different improvements to our site, different improvements for kind of for the committee's programming. And one of the things that Lauren and I talked about with Brianna is maybe trying to do some sort of having better connection to the businesses. If there's an opportunity to do, call it like business spotlight, an opportunity to kind of have, whether 1 to 2 businesses join us at a meeting, be able to kind of ask questions concerning, how's their experience so far working with the town, what concerns do they have, or what would they like to see done better, and then obviously it gives them an opportunity to kind of, I guess formally, or informally rather, communicate and meet town officials and talk about their business. It was just, it's not so much a new concept really, but it's just kind of the process of, all right, who do you decide on what businesses, how do you get new businesses that kind of want to reach out or, be part of it? I guess we really want to know is like, what does the committee want to see from that standpoint? What are we trying to do to try to obviously bring in new business, but obviously improve, I guess, the function of town government for existing businesses?
Yeah, and I think just to like add on to what Patrick is saying, it's the goal of whatever we do is like to highlight Walpole, like why Walpole, and that's kind of, again, the idea behind it. So if you guys have feedback or comments or ideas, like open to.
So for me, the way I was thinking is more like we should like get some established business like year of duration, say like 5 years or 10 years in Walpole first, and then ask them like what are their challenges and concerns at this moment, and then what have worked so far that they're able to stay this long or whatever longer. And then if we can still bring like maybe pretty new businesses like who joined in like within a year or two, and then ask them how easy or difficult was it for them to open a business in Walpole, and then what could be done differently, right? So it's balancing the old businesses plus getting some insights from the new ones. Therefore, we can tailor our offerings to better attract newer businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also sustain the ones who are already there. So it kind of serves both the purpose.
Yeah, I was also to add to that, prospective businesses, right? Like people that are in the market for
Right.
leasing new,
Right.
so get the local retail brokers involved or commercial brokers.
I think I was thinking along the same lines as you, but you articulated better than I can. My thought was, I wouldn't know how to support a business really as a member of the EDC unless I understood what their challenges were.
Yeah.
So whomever said,
Yeah,
get a couple entities in here and discuss.
It's more like we
exactly
can set up
you
like
said,
an
then
advisory
know.
meeting where we bring them in, ask certain questions, and then figure out how they respond,
Yeah.
and then take back some of the actions for us as a community to work on.
No, I think that's all kind of, I think, around the idea of the purpose of doing something like this. And I mean, my first thought, like when Lauren and I were trying to talk about, all right, how do we go about recruiting people? Do we focus on like sections of town? Do we kind of go over just who's on the who's new? I know he's not here today, but maybe even working with Harry in the chamber might be an easy kind of first way of like, hey, is anyone at the chamber interested in coming to a meeting and
Yeah.
talking?
Would it also make sense maybe to expand it to property owners? Maybe we can focus on some underutilized properties and maybe
Yeah.
get the property owner in here and have some frank discussion about it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's a good
those
idea.
two families on East Street, like other, businesses that are shuttered down on Main Street, even down towards Rockies and the bus company and any other properties that are vacant down there, and maybe get them in here to have discussion. I think if we could ever get those people that own the two families down on East Street here in for conversation, at least get a bug in their ear about maybe getting them to think to do something
No,
for the underutilized properties.
no, absolutely. I think it's a good point of having property owners too, because a lot of it.
As well as spotlighting. the
Yeah.
businesses that are good, but.
I think that's the one, I obviously, we want to, what the town can do from the side of helping businesses is permitting, right? And what you can do from just making the process easier, working with, whether it's the boards or just going through fire, building, health, the three main departments really you get for permitting. But a lot of things too is, we can't control private development, we can't control a property owner, but if we can at least understand some of their concerns or issues that they're having with doing, with redevelopment, if that's something they want to do, it's a good point.
It would also be
Yeah.
advantageous with the property over there where Eastman Pool is and stuff like that. The big parcel for sale off of East Street School and
Yeah.
whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
if we can get some conversation going with, I know they're trying to sell it, I know there's no buyer yet, but.
There's some communication with that site already.
Yeah, I've
But
heard
yeah,
of
it's a
this,
good, yeah. So yeah, does that like work as almost like a repeating agenda item, or do we wanna think of that as like, hey, maybe September meeting, have that lined up? Maybe try it for August too, but just from the standpoint of who's available, if that would be the focus of a meeting, or,
Well, I think we should like be in lockstep with the chamber
Yeah.
on the business side of things, like really, and like one of the things that again, we can only do so much for businesses getting started and stuff, but like to keep driving the economic activity and
Yeah.
stuff, I think it's important to be in lockstep with them if they're having like if there's a business that's having a grand opening, like there should be a representative if we can, of course, everybody's busy, but like there should be a representative, like they are supporting them from,
Yeah.
And making it a big deal, making sure that that's like getting out to the greater public.
Yeah. I know like Harry and they do a good job of trying to do like ribbon cuttings and stuff like that for
Mhm.
members, and
Yeah.
yeah, you can definitely want to communicate with him,
Yeah.
have another presence there.
But I think the property owners and the underutilized properties is huge.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mass development grants and things of that nature for
Mhm.
underutilized properties. I don't know if it expands outside of Boston, but.
But it was, I think we talked about grant, but we get to the department updates, we talked
Mhm.
about that too, but there was, there are opportunities that
one-stop.
are, into the one-stop. One was
Mhm.
specific
Yeah.
for, underutilized properties or improvements, like physical improvements to, I guess, the site or structural integrity of underutilized buildings that a town could work with a private developer, not private developer, private property owner on. And then we talked about TDs as one of the buildings, or 100 Elm Street.
Mhm.
Didn't end up going that way, but, certainly look at that in the future.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, that's one topic. I think we agree that's a great idea. We'll try to see what we can do, and I'll talk to Harry, and maybe we can get some lined up.
Is there a way that we can like get list of prospective businesses that we would like to speak first, and more like screen them for like whether they're gonna be vocal enough to give feedback and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that
I'm
would
happy
be-
to like
Harry,
tag along if
probably.
you want.
Or
you know?
brokers.
Yeah.
And we're talking about prospective businesses.
Prospective business,
Mhm.
yeah, that's.
Because most of the communication we have is if people just reach out,
Mhm.
which happens, especially for the new buildings that are in the downtown. We always see people looking for space, trying to coordinate that with them. But Harry, or I think Atlantic Realty is one of the
Mhm.
contacts we have. Maybe that would be a good idea to have.
Just have a initial conversation with them.
Yeah.
that we bring in, and then.
Yeah. Well, we had Atlantic Realty in too. That was a good meeting.
That was good.
Last year, to get an understanding what they're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, working with Harry is a good, I love your idea, I think it's a great idea. Working with Harry, right, will obviously be to our benefit, but maybe if anyone, like I obviously know people with businesses in town,
Mhm.
so I mean, maybe like if people knew a business or the owner, maybe they wanted to reach out to them, that's just an idea as well,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
maybe we can, I don't know, coordinate something from there.
Yeah, and Lauren brought up a good idea too, of like, all right, so we had, what do members of the committee have in terms of contacts?
Yeah.
And you know somebody as well, maybe that's not through the chamber. That's always helpful, I think.
Yeah, are all businesses chamber members or
No.
select?
So they have to join.
Okay, so definitely want to align with Harry and
Yes.
capture
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
knowledge, but yeah, there may be others that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
sounds like we don't want to miss
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, I figured this was Jimmy. We got the chamber president here right now. He has a
Yeah.
lot of contact information, well, not here,
Yeah.
but in general,
Yeah, no,
a lot of great
definitely-
contact
definitely
information he
leverage
has.
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's certainly a lot of
Absolutely.
benefits to joining the chamber,
Yeah.
it would be great networking opportunities.
Yep.
Because I know we've talked about it in past meetings, and like the thing, because we have a neighbor on our street who's like in his early 70s, and I know we talked about this in one of our conversations, because you said you started for the town of Norwood, but he
Yep.
was even saying to me how he feels like the downtown, and no, don't want to take offense, this is his personal opinion, he goes, it hasn't changed much since when I was younger, and I said, what do you mean? He said Norwood, he goes, everyone used to always go to Norwood to go shopping or go out to eat. Obviously Norwood's changed a lot too. He said Walpole's like the downtown here always been dead and it still is. So that got me thinking, it's like, I don't know, because I remember we talked about, like, we were just saying now, like, how do we recruit businesses or how, I would be curious to hear like what, if talking to business owners, like especially along Main Street, like what do Walpole say over other towns? I'm sure a lot of it's probably the financial aspect of it, but that's a curiosity I have.
I mean, I think we're gonna get into in the department updates, but the commercial and industrial property study was pretty eye-opening in that,
Yeah.
like, we have really low vacancy, so that's, I mean, that's good.
That is good, yeah.
No.
But anyways.
So I guess the transition, maybe one
Yeah.
transition, I also noticed too, it's 5:50.
Oh, that's
No, that's not a problem, I actually do unfortunately
Wanna
have a
stay on
hard stop
track,
at
okay.
6.
Sure.
Select board meeting a little bit earlier today, so.
Go for it.
But going to the department updates, so the commercial industrial study, I think we've all provided the work done by CREEP and MAPC previously in terms of existing conditions. It's a little bit of a hiccup, obviously, in terms of, getting the supplemental funding to continue the study. It seems that we have figured that out. That was with a different state agency. Unfortunately, now CREEP has left MAPC, so MAPC is going to be assigning a new lead consultant. They're pretty quick for that type of stuff. I'm not too worried. I've spoken to their economic development department head, so she's working on that. And the plan is really kind of pick up where CREEP left off and take and look at probably implementing the survey as like a, typically you want to have a survey open for a month. One site can meet with them and we can have an idea of who the new contact is. Maybe they can come and introduce themselves to the commission as well. And then we can kind of jumpstart and restart the process from, all right, we have the existing conditions. Let's begin the public outreach process for the fall and then work on goal setting and completing the work for the spring. Luckily for this, now that the supplemental funding is secure, there's a timeline in place. It has to all be done by this next fiscal year. So MAPC will be right on the case, and we will actually not be delaying anymore. We can actually get that project going,
Great.
which is good. I do want to talk about one thing. We're going to bring it up just because I'm pretty happy with this recent project. This all started kind of last year with the discussion. This is somewhat economic development related in terms of trying to, increase foot traffic. This is actually working. Oh, this is way too. But we looked at doing a study, design study with a landscape architecture firm. We ended up working with a school that has a program that's pretty happy with the outcome. Of potential redevelopment or potential landscape improvements for the Memorial Pond and Sprinkler Park location. I'm just zooming ahead just because it's a lot of stuff and I just want to focus on one page. They did a lot of background research with us. They worked with us this spring, looking at existing town data, conducting a survey, as well as being available at Walpole Day and a few, they had a downtown, they had like a public research session. Essentially, all this kind of stems from is looking at the drainage issues by Memorial Pond where the new dock is. We had some communication with the select board member, like, hey, can we expand? Do we need all that parking right there? And so we wanted to look at, all right, if we're gonna do something like this, we wanna make sure we have a better plan in place and not just kind of, dig up the grass and throw in benches. So the work that they put in was I was pretty impressed with just, the level of work from grad students, but it includes just a breakdown of different concept ideas to really remove impervious, improve drainage, have it be much more of a focal point, right? So we have a lot of people that live in the downtown now. We have a lot of developments in the potential happening, at 1015 East Street, corner of Spring and West. That's another approved apartment project. And so Memorial Pond and Sprinkler Park really kind of function as like your backyard, right? If you live in the downtown, it's a great place for open space, recreation, which is always important. And so we really want to try to make the area as attractive as possible. And so obviously this is all just, I wouldn't say pie in the sky, but these are just kind of the different concepts that I came up with in terms of just increasing foliage, improving the trail and connections. You can notice right here, there's like the whole breakdown of drainage improvements leading out to the deck, another deck, the dock. If there's potential for increasing additional, guess, tech space, if you want to call it that, platform space. So it's a great starting point, because now if we're looking at trying to do something and implement something, we have a lot of research that they put into this, a lot of communication with town residents. There's, their survey process, as well as conversations they had at Walpole Day. And we have a checklist, at least preliminary, of just what some of these things, what some of these projects would cost. Obviously, I don't, please review in your own time. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear it. I'm working with our Parks Department as well, just to kind of understand what they can take on. This is one of those things you can down as a study and says, hey, this is a great idea, and it's not always realistic. So I'm going to sit down, and the superintendent of the Parks Department was kind of worked with us in the process too, and met with the consultants on this. But we'll probably have another conversation about what can we look at trying to do with some of their funding, as well as if we can get some capital funding as well. And so I just wanted to bring that to you guys, to your attention. I mean, it was actually, talk about, plans that don't get delayed. This group, they started in April, they're done in June, so I can't beat that. That's a wonderful, the amount of work that they put in, and being pretty efficient with the timing was great. So this is definitely one of those kind of like, it's a fun project, right? It's a project that you like to see. It's a public amenity that, people can see and not just hear about their society. So if we can,
It's right there.
it's right there.
It's delightful.
Exactly.
The trails are nice. I've run through there frequently. It's got
Yep.
the farmer's market. It's
Yeah, so the farmer's market is another thing, so just
oh my gosh.
going through the study. So this is just a breakdown of different plantings they provided, and then I just want to bring out the just cost estimates. And these are all preliminary, and like I said, at least my thought and conversations I had with the park superintendent, and hoping to have more longer discussions, is, all right, not everything is really feasible, but what is feasible, and what can we try to think about implementing. So just wanted to bring that all to your attention. So
This is a great idea.
yeah. Yeah, it's the Conway School of Landscape Architecture. They're phenomenal. They have like a program, I think they do it every semester. They offer real world consulting work, so it's great experience working with them.
Do you think it aligns with the mission of the EDC in that it makes A, Walpole more attractive, or B, particularly for businesses that are adjacent, that are sort of like right over
I
there,
like
they're
the-
only a few hundred?
I would
Feet
say
away.
both. I mean, I think about, what can the town control, and sometimes you can't really control what private development, private development, you can't control in private property, but the thing that I always think about is what can you provide in terms of public amenity space, what can you provide in terms of zoning relief, what can you make the process easier for development, as well as make development in that location maybe more appealing, right? It becomes a much more attractive, I mean, it's a very attractive location already, but just in general, what can you do to increase foot traffic? If people are going to, go to the park, are they gonna go out to eat?
Well, I think
Yeah.
if you do end up having a big development, what is the street north right there? East, not,
Yeah.
East Street.
East Street, yep.
It might be beneficial for the developer too, that's if they end up building a huge,
Oh,
Yeah.
right opposite, yeah.
to maybe contribute to
Yep,
that.
some offsite mitigation,
Yeah.
call that? Oh, yeah. That's always nice. So yeah, it would just, from the economic standpoint, we think about just increasing foot traffic. Same way with like Main Street Live, right? You want to try to find a way how to make downtown more appealing, have people visit the businesses, and this is another idea that can do that.
Also like an idea, even we can do now if we can, which is like, I don't know whether it's happening, which is like, do we close off the street like during summers on weekends? Do we do that?
Yeah, so that was one of the ideas to this project. So they were, a lot of that is just, they're great ideas, right? Especially if you do it as like kind of like a, on like a temporary basis. We always, there's programming for the downtown on the common where you kind of, especially Main Street Live, you close the section that bisects the common. Same thing right here. Can you do an event where maybe you close a road and see how people respond to it?
Right.
One of the, they had a few different kind of like controversial things that throw out there to get people talking, and one of them is like, oh, what would you think about closing the road right there entirely, and having it be part of the park, because it would be better connected. And people in theory liked it, but then they're like, yeah, no, it's never gonna happen, that's not really practical. But from a test standpoint, or if you were to include it with programming, I mean, that's a great idea.
No, it's just more
Yeah.
like spring, summer, fall thing, right? Because
Yeah.
I used to live in Watertown where Cambridge used to block, even now they do it, like entire Memorial Drive on Saturdays until
Sure.
Sunday 8 p.m.,
Rollerblade,
right?
yeah.
And then you see tons of people coming in there just because it's blocked, you're like running and walking around right next to Charles. Even though there's not a lot of business, you still attract a lot of people.
Yeah.
So my question was like, can we just do it on like weekends? We call it like a family day on School Street, and then slowly people start coming in, and then there is a opportunity to like bring in like food trucks or somebody else to just be there once we start getting the crowd. And just like a simple barricade, because I did come here for like July 3rd fireworks.
Yeah.
These streets were closed. Just you put a barricade on like Saturday morning and then remove it on Sunday night, right? So just start somewhere, and then we start attracting foot traffic. More call it a family day where you can walk and even roller skates and stuff like that, whatever you can do, and slowly we attract business, and then we can get the food trucks on the town hall parking like the
Yeah.
previous day, and then people walk here and have some food here and then hang out, you know, and then slowly that builds towards the pond development as well.
Yeah, and get people interested in the area, and
Right.
as you make improvements, they're like, great,
Yeah.
they do that event again, it's gonna be much more of an enjoyable experience. Yeah, that's a great idea, and that's something that I think is, you know, you see towns like Watertown,
Right.
and I know, thinking of Norwood, right, they close a section
Right.
permanently during the summer, and it's hugely.
In front of the theater.
Yep, and it's,
Yeah, ice cream shops right there.
yeah, ice cream shops right there,
Yeah.
and that'd be something too, I mean, in downtown, you have to work with,
Yeah.
you have to work with what you have, right, in
Right.
terms of, you know, do you have another way, you know, is it, you know, is it a state road, is it a major road, is it something that could be, you know, is there another way for cars to get around?
Yeah, especially this one is
Yeah.
pretty easy, right? Because this, you can always bypass this road and go around.
Yeah,
So this is not really a main road that's gonna obstruct a lot of traffic.
yeah,
So people won't be unhappy even if we start doing it.
yeah. Yeah. All right, maybe two last things. So just briefly, mentioned, we looked into, hey, I was gonna look into some grants for the state's grant portal cycle. I did apply for one looking to extend sewer throughout the Walpole Industrial Park. That was very much more expensive than I thought it is, so I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping to be optimistic that there's some portion of it funded. We'll see what happens. Obviously, costs right now are very hard to determine. We worked with, Weston Sampson, who works with our DPW as like a sewer consultant. And so their costs were like 30% contingencies, and it was based upon just uncertainty with rising costs. And that was something that was interesting, let's put it that way. But we applied for it. There was a lot of, I was able to speak to a few different property owners down at the industrial park, and they were all very receptive to the concept. So they wrote good communication with them and having like letters of endorsement. So I'm hoping that kind of helps with the application, knowing that there's, you know, the town's not just doing it for the sake of doing it. There's a lot of benefit for that location. You know, being one of the few industrial parks in town, it's active, you can expand, the growth of those buildings that are down there. So that whole process through the state, you apply in the fall, you find out sometime in October, November, depending when they get a hold of you. Sometimes they'll reach out beforehand if they have additional questions. So we shall see on that one. Other than that, I guess if you want to do minutes.
Yes, do I vote? No, don't
Yeah, we
vote to approve the minutes.
would take a motion.
A
to-
motion.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we
Thanks.
approve the minutes from March 18th, 2025.
So,
Second.
Yeah.
were you guys here in March?
I was not there in March. Yeah.
A
I
second.
was not there during March.
I was here,
Okay.
right? I had.
Yeah, and Natalia, you were here.
I don't know, was it
March
18th? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, I've been on it for
You
over
were
a year,
here,
yeah.
I'm not,
That's okay, yeah, I think you could,
Oh,
it just
so-
needs to be a
Maybe
second.
somebody else second, I guess.
No,
Don't tell me.
No.
Brianna's really good, I can vote.
Okay, we'll hold March 18th, I guess.
Yeah.
but for May
I'll
20th.
make a motion to retract my motion. Then I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from May 20th, 2025.
A second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 That's a six.
Opposed? Abstained?
All right. So,
Sorry.
that's it.
So we're closing the
We
meeting.
do take a motion to adjourn.
Take a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second it.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstained?